rain, ice, or whatever, but so does water. So I want to recognize Paul Randolph to tell you how our operations have been impacted the last several days.
Quickly, you just want to cover the effects of the rain that we've all experienced here for the last 5 days, as Bill mentioned. But starting Sunday, we began a rain event that has now given us about 5 to 8 inches of rainfall across our service territory. That's about a 25-year storm event, and our treatment plants, typically we treat about 42 million gallons a day collectively on our 4 plants. But with this rain event, the last couple of days, we've been treating about 180 million gallons a day. So that's a little bit more than 4 times the typical daily volume, and that is significant. Now, we do have in play our storage tanks. As you're aware, we have 4 system tanks and 2 plant tanks, and that equates to about 32 million gallons of storage, and we are utilizing those to help peak that load at the plants. We still are experiencing rain this morning. I came in a little early this morning and the weather had broken a little bit, but the last couple of hours we're getting quite a bit of rain, so those storm totals will continue to grow, and we're actively treating those flows at the plants. Now, the rest of the system, we don't see any effect due to the rain of the last couple of days, but this morning the weather pattern has changed somewhat, so now we're expecting possibly some snow, wind, and we expect that will have an impact or could have an impact on our electric system. So earlier this morning we did bring together our storm team, and they are making preparations for the possibility of what those events might be later on today if the snow does come and impact our system. So we're preparing for that event as well. Any questions about the plants themselves?
Well, I guess the bottom line is, has the system worked even given this excessive amount of rain? Have we had whether it's the holding tanks or whatever, the system worked?
The system is working well. The tanks have worked extremely well in this event. We've exercised them just a few times as they were designed at the plant level, and that has gone quite well this time around, so we're very pleased with that. But as Mr. Elmore indicated, the rain infiltration is extensive, as you can see by the totals going from 42 on average to 180. That is a large amount of inflow and infiltration on the system. So we're working to improve that as well.
I think it's a tribute to what y'all planned to do and have accomplished in the last 5 or 6 years. I imagine 5 years ago we had a storm where we have an event.
Yes.
You know, every storm is different, and you know, this storm is right on the heels of what has been 2 very wet months, so the ground is very saturated. That definitely had an impact on the flow. I guess if you look out at the river and the creeks and such, they rose quite rapidly. That'll also have an impact on what the snow and wind might do, as the trees roots are now not as grounded as well with the wet soil conditions. So these are all factors that we do consider.
Is our system capable of handling the same kind of rain if it came in a shorter time frame, you know, just impact with those heavy rainfalls versus gradual like it's been these last 5 days?
Like I said, every storm is different. I think that we were able to hold off on implementing some of our storage capacity until later on the event. We were able to handle the first couple of several hours, really the first day of the event. Monday, the flow rates only got up to about 100 million gallons, and we didn't have any of our storage tanks at the plants in use at that time. So we would be able to handle a surge, but certainly the longer extended period of times like we're having today, or this last 4 or 5 days, that's a different kind of problem, but the same end result, I think. It is stressing the system, and we are using our facilities to address those.
Okay, thank you. I agree with Joe. It is nice to get some confirmation that the kind of money that we spent has been worth it. All right. Is there any other? Is there anybody who'd like to speak from the public? Mr. Austin.
I don't know if you remember me or not. I was here about 8 months ago.
You still live at 6416 Western Avenue?
Yeah,
Okay. And I remind you that we have a 5-minute limit.
okay. I'm not that long-winded.
Okay.
But as of now, the Grassy Creek project, or whatever it was called, down Hazelnut, that when we were up there last time, this gentleman here said it wasn't a for sure deal, which this was 8 months ago. They're actually setting equipment off now, rock off and everything else. My mother-in-law owns a stretch of land on this particular thing. She has not settled with KUB yet. We have tried to settle with KUB several times, and it's just fallen on deaf ears. Matter of fact, their first offer was $1,268. They come back with a counteroffer, said, if you don't take this, we're dropping it to $600, because the property's been reappraised. And it's just odd that it's reappraised into their favor, you know. Her property, there's only 2 pieces of property that's actually adjacent to Oak Ridge Highway, which makes the property value just a little bit more than the other neighbor's property is. Hers being one of them. And so the only thing I ask here is just maybe if the board could look into this and see if we can come to a happy, resolve this in a happy way without having to go to court. And I don't even know if there's anything y'all can do or whatever on this situation.
Well, is that all you have?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're aware of your problem, and I think the board's aware that our people and our attorneys are working hopefully with you and your in-laws.
Well, actually, it's kind of falling on deaf ears now. I mean, I even tried as far as yesterday. I made a phone call yesterday, and Miss Nipper had come almost half of what she originally felt like she needed to get out of this property. KUB does not want to pay for any construction easement. All they want to do is just pay for the permanent easement, which they're going to use a wider spot for construction easement that they don't want to pay anything for. The difference that between KUB right now, as of yesterday, KUB did come up to $1,800. Ms. Nipper comes to $3,000. So as you can see, we are very close to what the 2 parties can come together. And the only thing I'm believing here is maybe from the top side down, we can get some more response, get some hits together, and get this worked out in a timely manner where they can go on with the project. She don't want to hold the project up either, as far as that goes. But under these circumstances, that's the only option that she really has, is to try to hold this project up, you know. And this is not a small 6-inch main. This is actually a 15-inch or larger main. It's to serve the Knoxville Golf Course and the Shad Road area, which is actually double served anyway by Hallsville, Powell, and KUB. So they're in service now. She's not going to hold up anybody from getting service. This is just more of a convenience thing for KUB to make it an easier flow, where they can eliminate extra pump stations. I think this goes into 1 pump station rather than have to go through 2 or 3 pump stations.
We appreciate your bringing this to our attention.
Are there anything that can be done on your old level?
We'll talk to staff, but, we just have to go through the process.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
I do appreciate it.
Is there any other business
That's all we have.
from the commissioners? At this point, we will adjourn and remind, we will have a lunch session across the hall that's open to the public, and we are adjourned.